Hello, my educator family. I trust that you are all doing safe and well, and I trust that you are enjoying your rest thus far. For our international colleagues who are back at school already, I trust that your school year has been off to a great start. We are in the month of Adaptable August, adaptable indeed, as we focus on educational leaders, what they did during the onset of the pandemic, how did they adapt, what were the strategies and the techniques that they utilized to ensure that the business of teaching and learning went on, and what are the tips that they're going to be sharing with us as we go forward into the new school year 2021-2022. With us, we have Principal Everton Tyndale of the Porus Infant School in Manchester, as he shares with us what were his strategies and tips, what were the techniques that he utilized as he led Porus Infant to ensure that teaching and learning was effective and that the business of schooling went on. We want to welcome Principal Everton Tyndale to our platform. He is a distinguished principal, let me say that. He has many qualifications. He's also a trained principal, and having received the principal professional qualification for principalship, and he's also a trained minister of the gospel. What an awesome combination. Welcome, Principal Tyndale. Thanks for agreeing and thanks for coming on to share with us your techniques as you led through the pandemic.
Good day. I am Everton Tyndale, principal of Porus Infant School. My friends call it the Little University or Porus Infant Primary Secondary School. COVID has changed a lot around us, and a lot of us have changed because of COVID. And I want to respond to the question today: how has your level of supervision changed to meet the demands of COVID? And what will it be like post-COVID? Though we are an early childhood institution, I never wanted the staff or students to believe that we are less than those of the primary school, the high school, university, or less than nobody at all. So for us at Porus Infant School, it was business as usual. We set out with the same spirit, same organizational mode, similar objectives or goals in mind, that we are about teaching and learning. We are about educating our young Jamaicans. So the first thing that we put in place was the senior management team. And the senior management team, inclusive of myself, 2 senior teachers, and 2 teachers that were of co-op to the team, as we look at succession planning, we sat, we planned, we supervised, and we ensured that school, though virtual, was the getaway, the safe place for teaching, learning, and life. I want to share my appreciation for the National College for Educational Leadership, NCEL, because I was able to sit in the virtual instructional leadership course. And through this course, we were exposed to varying strategies or platforms that we could use to reach our students, knowing that we were confronted with so many things around us, and the fact that COVID was upon us. We heard about it in Europe, we heard about it in other places, other countries, and we knew at some point in time that it would have reached us because we are living in a global village. And so thanks to NCEL for the work you've done in preparing us for really and truly what we were baptized into, really some deep fire, deep things. Our staff completed many hours of training also through the Ministry of Education and her sister agencies on how to incorporate these platforms, the learning platforms. So because of our unique situations in Porus, the low socioeconomic conditions, we were not able to explore all the virtual platforms that, you know, that were afforded to us. There was the issue of internet connectivity. There was also the lack of devices or proper devices that could drive these platforms. We knew from early that a platform like Zoom, takes a lot of megabytes to drive, and the students were not prepared. The parents were not prepared to buy the data, and they did not have the internet connection that one would have expected them to have, because again, it was sudden. This was upon us. But so we resorted to using WhatsApp. We planned, we sat, and we asked, what could we use to reach our students, because at no point in time we wanted them to feel as though they were second class citizens as it relates to education, or be left behind. So indeed, we had various platforms, various WhatsApp groups. We had our general staff WhatsApp groups through which we shared our thoughts, our ideas, our morning devotions, our morning thoughts, our encouraging words. We had our board WhatsApp group, from which we shared. I would have shared ever so often, decisions that were taken in our staff meeting that were necessary to share with the board, so that our board members were aware of what was taking place in the school. So though we're virtual, we never at any point in time wanted our board members to feel as though, nothing was going on, or, because of COVID, there was no school happening. There was school. I fed them with information daily, weekly, monthly, and they were overjoyed at the level of supervision that was being shown, and leadership that was being shown. We had our PTA WhatsApp group, and from that, the PTA president shared necessary information to our parents and also the teachers, because, we had our meetings, and we really and truly wanted the parents, not just the students who are on their groups, but the parents and board, parents in particular, to be in the known at every angle. We had our ANSIL staff WhatsApp group, and though our ANSIL staff, though they were not engaged, we kept them in the loop. I remember clearly that we had times when we were giving out care packages, and we used the group to inform them, to pick up, or things necessary that were happening, things that were happening at the school. They were kept in the loop. So there was that level of supervision and care and concern, and keeping people in the known at all given times. And then we had the various class WhatsApp groups. There were 6 of them. I was a part of them. One of the things I want to point out is that the teachers could not fool me, even though they did not set out to do that. I must state clearly. But teaching took place. The teachers were early for class. They taught the lessons. They assessed the students, and they marked the work. I learned for the first time that we could mark books, mark work, through WhatsApp. And I just want to commend the parents for the level of work that they put in terms of the teaching that took place. I was there also to respond to the questions of some of the parents, and I must say thanks to the caregivers who were part of the WhatsApp group. They were second in command. So if at any given point a teacher was absent, or would have been absent for a few hours or a day, the caregivers were placed in charge of the group. And the caregivers did an excellent job, I must say. Most, if not all, of our events were virtual. And that's the thing about supervision. We cannot throw down or throw our arms up in the air and say, oh, we are in COVID, nothing is going to happen. Things were happening, and things happened at Porus Infant School. There was a teaching and learning. There was online assessment. We launched our clubs and societies. We had our parent month activities, an entire month of activities online. We had the Read Across Jamaica, staff meetings, PD sessions, board meetings, and our virtual school living exercise. I think Porus Infant School was the first to have a virtual school living exercise in the region. I make no bones about that. I recall when other schools were having drive-through or pick-up, Porus Infant School, we were the first to have our virtual school living exercise, and it was such a success that we had the second one. So, I mean, things were happening. I ensured that, people, all our stakeholders understood that, I was in charge and school was running. It was business as usual. Now, the year plan was executed as though we were face to face. We never missed anything. I had our neighbors coming over to share with me that, thanks, Mr. Tyndale, you have kept the campus alive. You have kept school alive. Though, everybody else was at home, I was at school at least 3 days per week. I ensured that I managed the plant along with the caregivers. Things were happening. We had our office hours. People were coming to sign documents, to pick up a document here and there. And we just ensured that school was happening. One of the things that stands out throughout was how necessary it was not just to feed your staff with information, but to check in on your staff. A part of the supervisory aspect of what we do as principals and senior management, the senior management team, is to check in on our staff. So in our WhatsApp group, or we use the telephone, we send out words of encouragement. Every single morning, I sent out words of encouragement. And by the way, we never missed devotion. That is our face-to-face devotion, because we had our devotion every morning. I mean, there were times when I would miss a morning because of the activities I would do outside of the parish, and a teacher or caregiver would call me and say, "Sir, what is happening this morning? I didn't get my encouraging word." And then I knew that it was something that they loved and they wanted, because they grabbed onto it and it kept them through the day. We had our fun and laughter light moments. I would share a joke here and there. Other teachers and caregivers would share a joke, because, one of the things we learned in life is all work and no play makes Jack or Jill a dull boy or girl. And so we had our fun and laughter. And, there was a time when I wanted to know the state of mind of our staff members. Many of our staff members lost families and friends through the period. I lost 10 members of my family throughout the period. And we used that platform to encourage, to offer words of condolences. As a matter of fact, there were times when I believed that teachers needed a little break, a day or 2 or 3 days from the classroom setting, just to relax, just to breathe, just to rejuvenate. And I asked caregivers to take charge of that class for the day, 2 days, 3 days. But I would have given greater supervision to that group, knowing that, at the end of the day, everything rises and falls on leadership. It is fair to say that the level of accountability was established. A level of accountability was established from day one. I mean, lessons were prepared, they were delivered and taught, and teachers were commended on the PowerPoints from their lessons. So I was a part of all the teaching sessions. Every morning, 8:30 on the dot, there was the devotion. Immediately after devotion, there was the morning greeting. After the morning greeting, the lesson started and the students were just into it, into it, into it, into it. And as the teachers taught, I would pick out power lessons from their individual classes and share those in our bigger group. And I think that to me was acted as a form of encouragement. And I have seen where teachers have improved on their teaching, their pedagogical skills over the period. Our staff also showed up for work on time and they went the extra mile. Now we had this understanding that school starts at 8:30, ends at 2, but we keep the platform open until 4. And I just want to share with us that many of our teachers kept the platform open up until 12 midnight, because there were parents who left their children with caregivers. The caregivers couldn't manage the level of work, or they would go away after a period of time. The parents would do the work, or assist the students rather with the work after, and then they would send on the work to the teachers, sometimes as late as 12 midnight. And the teachers shared with me, and I asked them, don't you have a problem with that? No, because at the end of the day, our teachers showed much care and concern for our students. Our teachers went the extra mile. I mean, as a part of my supervisory role, I went into the community in search of the students. I made several calls to parents, students who were absent for a day, 2 days, a week. We could not find them. Some of them migrated to other communities, migrated to other parishes. There was this part of me wanting them to learn, and when I saw that our numbers were dropping from the 100% to the 80%, I reached out to the teachers, asked them to send those names, and I called those parents to let me know what is happening. Is it device? And so from there, when I learned of the many issues that parents were having, issues with devices, issues with lunch, issues with data, we reached out to our stakeholders, we reached out to our friends, and believe it or not, we got over 30 tablets, we got data, we got care packages, we got food for the poor, and our caregivers came in and we packaged stuff, and we fed over 120 students and parents from that. Because guess what? If the students are hungry, if the parents are hungry, the students will not learn. There is this correlation between what happens in your physical space and what happens in the mind, believe it or not. And we really and truly wanted to take care of them. So I mean, things were happening. As supervisor, I can tell you, just to pick up on the point I mentioned earlier, that I became beggar in chief, and every principal is the beggar. Every principal is a beggar in chief. Letters were written to over 30 companies and stakeholders. We sought assistance with breakfast, care packages, and learning tools. We managed to collect over $1 million in cash and kind donations. Our kind sponsors were Friends of Porus, Porus Past Students Association, JN Life, Food for the Poor, Friends of the School, and just people who were impressed with what we were doing at Porus Infant School. Through the period March 2020 to June 2021, we had approximately 75%. That's an average, 75% of our students who were engaged. I must point out that we even had a student from Germany. The parent was so impressed that the little girl who was a part of the class, her sister, her younger sister, though she was not ready for school, became a part of the school because learning was exciting. And there was much excitement that the teacher created. And so we had that grand opportunity of gaining 2 students from Germany. So to answer the question in a more precise way, I have learned that people respond to leadership, and it is easier to supervise when there is a clear understanding of roles and goals we hope to achieve. I personally, I really do not have to be in people's faces or in their backs to get work done. I've learned that. The staff was empowered. What people need to be empowered. And my staff was empowered. And they, as a result of the empowerment sessions that we had prior to the opening of school or the reopening of school, the staff took personal responsibility for the success of every child and the institution. And so the other question that was asked, post-COVID, I just think that we will continue to improve on the areas needing greater attention as we continue to engage everyone in the SWOT analysis process, because we have to look at the strengths, we have to look at the weaknesses, we have to look at the opportunities for growth, and also what were the threats that presented themselves over the period. And so we will continue to do our analysis, and as a result, we'll continue to improve on the weak areas. To close, I really must give credit to every single member of staff who made Porus Infant and education more exciting and meaningful. Thank you, and God bless you.
My educator family, did you listen in deeply to what Principal Tyndale shared with us? Remarkable, excellent. That's what it takes when you are a leader in the educational system. I like that he mentioned that he was beggar in chief, because it is only necessary, it is only needed that as the principal, you have to be on the forefront. You have to be out there. You have to be committed. The students and the parents and teachers, stakeholders, they must see within you that fire that burns deep within for your school community, for the students that you share. Principal Tyndale, let me commend you for an excellent job that you have done at leading Porus Infant, primary, secondary, as they name it, throughout the pandemic. And thanks for the tips that as we go forward as educators, as leaders, as teachers, that we can take on to ourselves and utilize. It is now clear that the pandemic is here to stay. How do we go around it? It means then that as leaders, as educators, as teachers within our own rights, we have to plan, and we have to plan effectively, and we have to lead. We lead people and we manage resources in order to ensure that the business of teaching and learning goes on and that every child is taken care of. Educators, I want to thank you so much each week for your support, for viewing, for liking, for sharing, for commenting. And if you thought that Principal Tyndale did an excellent job based on his presentation, go ahead and comment in the comment section. It is okay to say thumbs up. It is okay to say excellent job. We have to get to that culture where we commend each other, and when we see someone doing good, that we get good bad mind and we adapt it and we move forward. Educators, thank you once again, and on Thursday we'll see you for Analysis Thursday, which promises to be insightful. Thank you once more, Principal Everton Tyndale. And thank you also to all our viewers. Walk good and all the best. Remember that as we empower you, we expect you to go likewise and empower others. Thank you.